All right, welcome. It's me, Hans von TCG, where we're going to be trying a new audio setup today to see if this works any better. I have a jank thing here of a Charizard Ultra Premium Collection box with a minifigure thing that's going to be holding up my mic. So welcome to the video. Today I really wanted to talk about the rumors about the Sword and Shield reprint kind of debacle that's going on between whether or not Sword and Shield's going to be reprinted, or if Scarlet and Violet's going to be kind of the new standard that Pokemon's going to be using. So we'll just flip this around right here, and I'll show you guys some of the news that's been going on if you haven't been following. So this kind of all started back here on the 20th when we had Pokemon Deals Community put out a tweet here that's saying that they had confirmed sources that from 5 different people that Sword and Shield will no longer be getting reprints. And if you didn't know, this is all started swirling because Scarlet and Violet coming out has an increased MSRP. They're changing the card stock. They're changing the way that the packs are going to be done, guaranteeing a holo in them, silver borders, and it's just a whole different game. $4.99 now instead of $4 for a pack. It's changing the price of booster packs, ETBs, which you get an extra pack in, and a promo now automatically, as well as the price of booster boxes going up to about $161. So it's a pretty significant change that it's affecting a lot of people in the community and also creating a lot of FOMO around whether or not the older, cheaper sets are going to be still around. So here's just kind of the overall update from the Pokemon Company showing that the changes here and then how they're going to be just changing the card layout, etc. It says energy on it 3 times now, which is funny to me. But cool changes, etc. But so here we go. Pokemon News Community put out this tweet saying, hey, doesn't look like there's going to be any more Sword and Shield reprinted. And this is a little bit of a... I know they're just reporting what they're hearing, and I just remember the number one rule of this channel is don't panic and do not go out and buy into FOMO, because oftentimes Pokemon will do things that are off the cuff, off the wall that you don't expect. And, you know, you're not going to win every battle. That's what we always say here. And if you can go into this with some patience and just waiting it out a tiny bit more, I think we're going to be able to come out of this in the right way. Personally, if like scrolling down here, some big hitters in the community coming up here. I know Danny Phantom replied to here. He has a great video on this. I'll link it below, kind of about like the ground truth of what's happening at the distributor level with the Sword and Shield sets. But here he himself has not been able to find any plans of a reprint coming from his distributors, but he does know of people who have confirmed at the end of February some sets being reprinted, such as Fusion Strike, Astral Radiance, Brilliant Stars, Silver Tempest, and Lost Origin. Again, in there, I think that Brilliant Stars was the smallest amount that was supposed to be reprinted, and still no hints of either Evolving Skies or Chilling Rain in there. So just kind of going through this, he said, there's one specific distributor taking orders for reprints, and this they could be getting it from a third party. We don't know if this is coming from Pokemon itself or just a batch that somebody else had. So that's kind of the flow of information that we're seeing here, is that we are, as a community, are only able to get up to the distributor level right now, and we haven't been able to penetrate past that to be able to see what is in the inner machinations of Pokemon's mind.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
And so pushing forward here, we know that there's certain sets that Pokemon just randomly just reprints for no reason, like the Hidden Fates that they did that back in 2019. I mean, they did it with sets in Sun and Moon, such as like Unbroken Bonds and Unified Minds, where the prints came later. And so we can't particularly tell all the time when Pokemon will reprint something, whether it's in a window or not. We do know for the competitive play that these cards from these later sets in Sword and Shield are still competitive, still in rotation. So it doesn't make sense to completely not reprint them. I mean, if that is a sector of the community that they're trying to still fulfill, that makes sense. Like, I don't think Pokemon would just cut all cards unnecessarily just due to inflation. However, I do believe that the amount that they will reprint of these is smaller. And this is just from a business perspective of the fact that they're saying they need to increase prices due to inflation. They're going to be changing their card stock. They're going to be changing kind of how they want the vision of their cards to be. This is not going to be an immediate thing. From a long-term play, they want to reset the baseline to their prices at these new levels. They said they will still honor the old prices, but just moving forward, it seems like maybe that's why Crown Zenith has such a long play of product that they're releasing over the next 4 months. This is completely my opinion, by the way. I just look at that and I see, wow, they really don't normally release products over that such a long schedule. And for me, that just says, hey, we're going to be slow rolling this so that we have time to do smaller releases at the Pokemon Center, do smaller releases to a distributor level of these cards, while we get into the Scarlet and Violet era, where we're going to be maybe 2-3 sets deep before Crown Zenith stops showing up at the old prices. And now all of a sudden you've had a year of when people are expecting to pay the new prices. And for me, that looks like logically how it would proceed. Who knows? Sometimes business isn't logical, or maybe my logic is flawed. Let me know below in the comments if you think anything different. But moving into the sets that we have kind of confirmed are getting that reprint from or stock at the distributor level is Fusion Strike. And you see here, even in the past month, it hasn't really affected. I don't know if it's been affected by that news, but we don't see any decreases in prices. In fact, it has still been skyrocketing since my last video when I did it when it was around like 115 or something. Now it's around 127. And we're really approaching that MSRP perspective extremely quickly. Moving into Astral Radiance, something extremely similar. In the past month, it has gone from 102 up to 117. There's been a lot of FOMO around whether or not these are going to be reprinted, and I think it's just safe for us to say right now we don't know. And if you have the funds and the means to buy these things, I don't think it's a bad bet to go out and still buy something at these prices. I think that these sets will be limited in the future, but the Pokemon Company can do whatever we want. And that's the risk we inherently take when we're investing in something like this, is we are at the whims of a company that can take the value of our cards to zero, or the value of our packs to zero if they wanted to. But erring on the side of caution and looking at where we're going in the future, I don't see this being something that is superly heavily printed. I don't, but maybe I could be wrong, and to take my opinion with a grain of salt. Brilliant Stars, this is another one that's been kind of going up and down the past month, but still peaking out here at the top of its value around $185. And it has not been that expensive, I don't think, ever in its time period. Yeah, it peaked up here at 170. This is the most expensive it's been in the past year. So, I mean, I really think that last four sets, Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, Lost Origin, and Silver Tempest, will receive, if any, the most likely to receive a reprint. And I know Fusion Strike itself was one that was released in a huge batch and wasn't necessarily well received by at the time. But now as we move forward, it's looking like, okay, well, maybe that is a desirable set because of the alternate arts. So that could receive another large run due to the fact that it hasn't had one so far. Lost Origin, this was one that Danny Phantom noted had a small release here in the past month. And so you see it's still going up, but it kind of leveled off. And that is indicative of what I think will happen with a lot of these sets, where we see the same thing we saw with the Evolving Skies reprint last summer, where you see it just kind of level off. You know, it doesn't really drop a ton. And I see that being kind of in the future where we see these sets going around. They might dip a little bit. I don't think they'll dip back down to that $100 mark. I don't. But again, happy to be wrong. I want these available to be for everybody. And I think these are great sets. I think especially Lost Origin. But peaked to here around 129. And then you have that small reprint. I follow these kind of like daily on my collector app, which I'll put in the description as well if you ever want to track your collection dollars. It's a really handy tool for me. It's not always 100% right, but it just gives trends for me that I really like. And now we've kind of bumped back up again to that 129 mark. So, and then Silver Tempest itself has done the same thing of just kind of slowly increasing over the past month. And I say slowly, these are, I'd say this is relatively quickly. The newest set going up from around 112 all the way up to 126. Not at a 1 month high, but still increasing. And I think us as Pokemon collectors, we need to be looking at this with more scrutiny than just what is pushed out there. You know, it's like we have our sources, we have ability to corroborate information, and we should also still not act on emotion and still not act on panic. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride as Sword and Shield does come to an end here with Crown Zenith, and we get into Scarlet and Violet, because it's kind of the Wild West right now. Pokemon hasn't done this in a while. I don't even know when the last time Pokemon increased MSRP. Pushing forward, I think it's going to be something that we need to be following if you're a serious investor in this, or even if you're a casual investor. And if you're a collector, I guess this is also still important to you, because the scarcity of these cards, like we saw with Team Up, for example, is a great set, but it wasn't printed that much. So people love it, but it's not that much available. And now you can find sleeve boosters for $25. And the only people who generally have them are people selling them on Whatnot, etc., and they charge an extreme amount. So I want to give a quick shout out to my guy Mike at Swagg Shop on his Facebook story. He's also on Instagram. He does a fantastic job of being able to offer these card sets at market price, if not a little bit lower, and he does great quick shipping. He's based out of here in California. I just want to say, like, there's been a lot of people in the community that have been, I'll say, like, scalping folks lately and being proud of it. And he's one person that I've really found as a friend and a person that I go to when I need opinions on things and to support his business, because he genuinely loves what he does and he genuinely loves Pokemon. And I just want to say, like, there are people out there, just be careful who you're buying cards from, because people will take advantage of this FOMO extremely badly. They will go to stores and strip them of all of their product just to resell them for 50% more. And then just be like, whatever, haters, suck it up. It's just like, that's toxic behavior, and that's also extremely bad for the community, and also doesn't set a good example for who we want to be as collectors and investors. So thanks for listening to me, guys. I'm going to be headed out. I'm going to go join a stream, but thanks. See ya.